Welcome to the show, Coach WONDERGEDDON. New episode. This episode is going to be mainly Major League Baseball and NFL. So if you don't want to listen to any of those, then I'll give you a surprise at the end. Intro, please. Welcome to the show, guys. Another episode of Mr. WONDERGEDDON. I'm the Coach WONDERGEDDON. Today we are going to talk about a lot of baseball and a lot of football. The baseball, we're in season swing right now, so we're going to talk about players to pick up if you are going through a little downtime on your teams. Then I have some rookies that you might want to look at to pick up. We're also going to speak of the rookies of the NFL. As you probably know, some of them got drafted. We got some new rookies in the league. Some of them got drafted. Some of them won't mean much to us at all in the fantasy world, but some of them will. So we're going to talk about quarterbacks that you might want to pick up, as well as running backs, wide receivers, and I'm even going to throw in a tight end just to show you guys how versatile I am. Let's talk about the Major League Baseball first, 2019. If you are in any situation like myself, you are looking at some of the holes that you have in your team and thinking, how am I going to plug this up and make my team look good? Obviously, playoffs is the priority, so you want to look at some of the gaps and fill them. I have some rookies that I have taken the opportunity to look at in depth, and I am going to tell you which ones you should look at picking up in order to make your team that much better. Solidification of your team. I'm not going to talk about any of the catchers, unfortunately. I feel like in the baseball season, catchers are kind of a detriment. Sometimes it feels better to have not one on your team because offensively they tend to bring you down. So I'm not going to talk about those. I'm going to talk about rookies. I think it's going to be a race of attrition. Whoever stays healthy, obviously, out of the ones that I mentioned, are going to be the most successful ones. I think they are going to be a couple crowd pleasers from the ones that I chose. The ones that I did choose are going to be third baseman, although one of them is a third baseman right now, a purebred third baseman. The other one looks like they're going to be center field at some point, and maybe even a little bit of second base. The third baseman that I'm talking about, possible rookie of the year this year, is going to be Toronto Blue Jay Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He is the son of a Hall of Famer. His dad, obviously his name would be Vladimir Guerrero. While he was playing for the Montreal Expos about 20 years ago, gave birth to his son, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That's right, folks. He is Canadian. He's a Canadian citizen. He's playing for the only Canadian baseball team in Major League Baseball. And he is the highest rated prospect that I believe the Toronto Blue Jays ever had. Now think about this, guys. I know we grabbed some Roberto Alomars and all the other stuff, but we did have Delgado. I believe we drafted Carlos Delgado a long time ago. A lot of you guys probably don't even remember these names. That being said, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a big deal. He is an offense hitting machine. He hits for power. He's probably a little bit more patient at the dish than his dad, Vladimir Guerrero, was. He is the future of the Toronto Blue Jays and perhaps even the American League. This guy is a power hitter, third baseman. He is a man. He's a monster. He was in the minor leagues. They knew really early on that he wasn't going to stay in the minor leagues very long, and he's made it out. He is probably one of the he's one of the Rookie of the Year on watch list. The other person I'm going to mention that is on that list is probably the closest to competition you're going to have as far as who is going to win that award. If you are missing a roster spot on your team, if you are missing a center fielder, second baseman, third baseman, give us about, I guess by the time this airs, you're going to see that Nick Schenzel from the Cincinnati Reds is going to be that guy. Highly touted hitter. He is the second pick in the 2016 draft. He is a hitter among hitters. Just like Vladimir Guerrero, they both started out at third base. But when Schenzel gets up here, he is most likely going to play center field. That being said, he's on the Cincinnati Reds, which means bye-bye Matt Kemp. I know what you guys are thinking. Matt Kemp is an all-star. He should be an all-star. He is an all-star. Nick Schenzel is that good, guys. He is a hitting machine. He's another 300 average hitter in the minor leagues. He's going to come out and he is going to join the ranks of Joey Votto, and one guy who's highly touted to me that a lot of people don't know about yet, but I promise you will by the end of the year, is Jesse Winker. Both of these guys, all three of these guys look like they're going to be 300 plus hitters. That means a lot of runs, a lot of RBIs. I don't think it really matters too much where Schenzel is going to be on the lineup. He is going to produce. He hits a lot. He doesn't strike out as much as he hits. He hits everything. He has above average power, so I'm guessing he's going to get 25 home runs. He is my National League Rookie of the Year, while Vladimir Guerrero obviously is the East Rookie of the Year. In my opinion, if you see these guys out here and no one's picked them out yet, you pick them up, put them on your team. I promise you, they are going to produce for you. That being said, obviously production for the team means nothing if you don't have good pitching. So I'm going to tell you two rookies that I think you should look at for pitching. Oddly enough, both of the players I'm about to tell you about are on the same team. San Diego Padres has two really good rookie pitchers. One's name is Matt Schramm, and the other one is Chris Paddock. One, I believe, is a left-hander and one's a right-hander. Very good strikeout pitchers. These guys have a lot of control, very accurate in their pitches, which means a lot of strikeouts. They keep the ball on the ground so they don't get bombed very often. Not a lot of home run hitting against them. They also have one of my favorite pitchers' names to say. If anybody on the back wants to yell out that person's name, if you don't want to, I will do it myself. I'll give you 3 seconds. Who am I talking about? Joey Lucchesi. That's it. Joey Lucchesi. He is their ace, but right behind them, I think a three-headed horse is Matt Schramm, Chris Paddock, and Joey Lucchesi. The good thing about it too is that neither one of these guys have to face each other, which means that they have more opportunities for wins, and they also don't have to face Manny Machado, who I think is also going to be looked at for MVP this season. Again, if you are struggling and you see gaps in your lineup and one of these guys are available and can cover up some of the flaws on your team, hurry up and get them. I know Matt Schramm is out there. He's probably the lowest rated out of all the players that I mentioned as far as rookies go. I think he's somewhere around 65% owned. If you are one of the leagues that have 35% space for him, I'm telling you, pick him up. He is, as I said, very low walks, very high strikeouts. Even with the team, I'll be honest with you, San Diego Padres team, I look at the whole list. I'm not too sure how much I like them as far as a lineup, a playoff contending lineup. But I'll be honest with you, with the pitching that they have, I can see why they've left some of the holes in their team when they can probably pick up someone else. Maybe even like a Matt Kemp, who, as I said, is probably leaving the Cincinnati Reds by the time this gets out. That being said, look at those 4 guys. Which one do you think is the best? Nick Schanzel versus Vlad Guerrero. Who do you think is going to be Rookie of the Year? Matt Schramm versus Chris Paddock. Who do you think is going to be the biggest impact on the San Diego Padres this year? We are going to find out as this season rolls on. But as I said, if you see them out there, pick them up. They will be game changers on your team. We're going to go through a couple messages, couple commercials, if you will, and then we are going to talk about the NFL rookies, the draft that just happened recently, and how that's going to impact your fantasy league team. We're going to talk about that after this. All right, guys, we talked about Major League Baseball. Now we're going to talk about the rookies of the National Football League. As you guys know, the 2019 draft just happened recently. We got a bunch of new players in the NFL, and we are going to talk about which ones matter to you if you are a fantasy league GM. Obviously, some of these guys aren't going to pan out the way your Antonio Bryants or your Juju Schusters or your anybody else that's already established in the league. But if you're a fantasy league owner where you have a kind of a dynasty thing where you get to keep some of your guys, a keeper league, then some of these guys you might want to look at this year. Some of these guys you might want to keep and hope that they pan out 2 years later and kind of leave them on the bottom of your roster. That's who we're going to talk about now, is some of the guys who might be able to directly impact your team and make your season a lot easier and a lot more stress-free. I'm going to tell you about three quarterbacks. We're going to talk about maybe 4 running backs, and we're going to talk about some wide receivers and maybe even a tight end. Let's start with quarterbacks. Obviously, if you are going to draft a rookie quarterback, you're going to want to go no further than the Cardinals' Kyler Murray. This guy is a stud. He can pass. He can run. He can stay in the pocket. He can come out of the pocket. He is a complete, probably one of the more complete players that you are going to find in this draft altogether. Never mind a quarterback. Last year, Baker Mayfield came out and became the rookie quarterback that everyone wanted to get. This guy is probably the counterpart for 2019. Kyler Murray is that guy. He is playing for the Cardinals. The Cardinals still have a good team. They are going to always have a pretty good passing game. Obviously, he's going to be an upgrade to Rosen, who recently got moved to the Miami Dolphins. He's going to have Larry Fitzgerald, so even though Larry Fitzgerald's getting a little bit older, I still have faith with him. Larry Fitzgerald's 50% is better than a lot of guys, 75 to 80%. So I think Kyler Murray has a good chance of making a positive influence on your team. Another one who I believe is going to be a good addition to your team is Dwayne Haskins. He is gone to the Washington Redskins. Surprisingly, I thought he was going to get drafted way earlier than that, but he didn't. Washington snatched him up a little bit later in the first round. He can very well be the week 1 starter for the Redskins. He does not have the type of competition to lose that position. I don't think it's his for the taking, but I do think that it is his for the taking, meaning that I don't think he's going to fight too hard to get it. I think he's going to get it. Even though it's Case Keenum is Washington's number one quarterback right now. Honestly, if Dwayne Haskins plays with that chip on the shoulder of I should have been drafted earlier, then I believe that he is going to, if he doesn't start week 1, I think by week 5 or 6, depending on the record, he is going to be the starter for the Washington Redskins. I don't think, unfortunately, that Daniel Jones is going to be that much of an impact, but I thought I'd mention him anyways. Daniel Jones, obviously, is the guy that got drafted by the Giants, and a lot of Giants fans were pretty upset about that. He's a good player. I know people are downplaying how good he is. He really is a pretty good player. Is he Eli Manning? No. Is he going to be Eli Manning? No, I don't think so. I think he's a really high pick. He has a good chance of not panning out the way that they want to. Or maybe he will pan out. Maybe he might take a little bit longer than they planned for him to do. Good luck. He doesn't have Odell Beckham Jr. to throw to either. If I had to draft him, no, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't draft him. I'd probably avoid that situation altogether. I don't think he's going to even play this year. I think Eli Manning's going to start no matter how bad their record is. I think that Eli Manning is going to start for the Giants every game this season, barring injury, of course. Let's talk about the running backs now. Obviously, if you're going to pick up a running back, rookie running back, the guy that you want to pick up is from the Oakland Raiders. His name is Josh Jacobs. He is the number one guy for the Raiders this season already. Marshawn Lynch retired. That's the number one. The Raiders, the Raiders, Josh Jacobs should be the number one running back this year for Oakland. Marshawn Lynch has retired. That's the number one guy gone. And Doug Martin is so. I don't think he is going to be a starter in the NFL anymore. That situation looks like the perfect one for Josh Jacobs. He runs a little bit like Marshawn. That's a good situation for him. He's a beast. He's going to run a lot of yards. He's going to smash a lot of people. I think that situation is going to work out for him pretty well. Pick him up if you can. If you can get David Montgomery from the Bears, if you're looking for a running back, running backs tend to get pretty deep, but if you have to get one that's out there, a young running back, look at David Montgomery from the Bears. He is going to be taking up Jordan Howard's situation. Jordan Howard recently left and went to the Eagles, so those touches that he had are going to be given to David Montgomery almost exclusively. Obviously, Tariq Cohen is their scat back for the Bears. Trubinsky likes to throw, which means that Tariq Cohen is going to get a lot of those out of the backfield. But when it comes to the straight running, the north-south running, I think David Montgomery is going to pick up a lot of those touches. And as I said, those are the touches that Jordan Howard had before that he gave up when he went to go play for the Eagles. So look out for him. Another guy that an intriguing pickup, in my opinion, look at Darrell Henderson from the Rams. If Todd Gurley gets injured, we all know about his bad knee. His knee's been pretty bad, almost took him out completely from the playoffs last year. If that situation continues, you are looking at Darrell Henderson being the thorn in Todd Gurley's side. You are looking at a guy who in university averaged 8.2 yards a carry. If you do not trust a bad knee in the NFL on a running back like I do, I don't trust knee injuries on running backs. They tend to be a big problem. If you want to take that risk, if you have that slot open, look at Darrell Henderson. As I said, he is going to fill in that gap for Gurley. Maybe not the exact same way as Gurley, maybe not as strong as Gurley yet. I expect him to be that guy in the next, if not this year, then the next year. Okay, those are your running backs. Take a look at those. If you are looking for that slot and you're running a little bit thin, maybe even if you're not running a little bit thin at running back, those guys are pretty good options. Especially if the keeper league, especially if you're in a keeper league, because a lot of good running backs get stuck in keeper leagues, and they're really hard to come by if you don't have one that you kept from the year before. It's pretty hard to get a running back that's reliable. So as I said, Darrell Henderson has a good chance of being that guy, barring injury. We're going to talk about wide receivers now. Wide receivers, they're the hardest rookies to call. But if you get a young, productive rookie wide receiver, then they can win you your season. These situations, take a look at these situations I'm about to mention. As I said, a lot of rookies in the NFL, it's really situation that gets them their level up. If they're in a pretty good situation, then you're looking at a diamond in the rough. For example, N'Keal Harry, good receiver, great numbers in college, but look at the situation he's put himself in. He's been drafted to the Patriots. Obviously, that means that he's going to be catching passes from Tom Brady. Tom Brady just lost his GOAT. He just lost his tight end, his all-star and most likely Hall of Fame tight end Gronkowski just retired. Josh Gordon got suspended, and Chris Hogan just left and went to the Carolina Panthers. Cannot be a better situation for a rookie wide receiver. He's going to get a lot of passes. Tom Brady's going to be looking at him a lot because he just doesn't have a lot of options as far as who he's going to pass to. So take a look at N'Keal Henry. He is going to be that guy. I like him. As I said, he's in a good situation. DK Metcalf is also in a good situation. He got brought on to the Seattle Seahawks, which means he's going to be getting passes from Russell Wilson. He's more of a deep threat. I know deep threats don't get a lot of love all the time. They don't get a lot of volume catches, but they do get a lot of yards when they do catch those open catches. And he is, if he stays healthy, I know he's another guy with knee issues. He can burn a few defensive backs this season if he's healthy. He can get behind them and cause a lot of trouble, especially for a team like the Seattle Seahawks that are known more as a running team, which means that him and Doug Baldwin together would make a pretty good combination. Rumors are starting to stir that Doug Baldwin might be done with the Seahawks, and I still think that will work for DK Metcalf. But I think it'll be better for DK Metcalf if he's a number 2 guy than if he's a number 1 guy. Reason why is because DK Metcalf, in my opinion, he's a good all-around. He's a good all-around receiver, but he's not great in anything. But he is fast and he can get behind the DBs. If you know that though, and he doesn't have a lot of depth at running back or at wide receiver, then that could be a problem. So if you've got somebody that, if the Seahawks have somebody else on their team that's willing to take some of the attention away from DK, then it will be a lot easier for him to score some points behind the defensive backs. One situation that I don't like from a very good player, in my opinion, is Marquise Brown. He just got sent to the Ravens. I'm a Steeler fan, so I'm trained to hate the Ravens, and I'm trained to hate the Browns, even though I don't think I hate the Browns anymore because I really like their team. But the problem is Lamar Jackson. Although I like him as a running back, he is kind of a target killer, which means that receivers that get sent to a team who have a quarterback that likes to run, it's going to be really hard for him to get a lot of catches. I hope he does, and I really do want him to prevail. I think he's a better wide receiver than DK Metcalf. But DK Metcalf's situation, in my opinion, is better than Marquise Brown's. I would probably stay away from Marquise Brown unless I'm really, really short on receivers. Tight end situation, I'm going to kind of plug them in kind of as wide receivers because I'm not going to sit down and tell you about the blocking that they have to do and the extra work they have to put in compared to wide receivers. But although I know that there are a couple good tight ends that are in this draft and that have been drafted, the guy that I'm looking at is going to be Noah Fant. Noah Fant got drafted to the Broncos, and I think that is going to be a good look for him. He is going to be put on the team. Joe Flacco is the new quarterback for the Broncos. He just left the Ravens last year, which is because of Lamar Jackson. He likes to throw to his tight ends, and he makes his tight ends look really good. So if I'm going to look at a team who has a situation where I think a number one tight end will be really young and up and coming, I think it's going to be Noah Fant. I think he is going to be my X factor this season. And if I'm looking and if I'm short on tight ends and I'm going to look for one, I might pick him up a little bit earlier than I would some of the other positions because I think he's going to get a lot of catches as a young tight end. Those are my rookies, guys. I'm not going to really talk about defensive players because they really don't have much value as individual players in fantasy leagues. And I'm not going to talk about kickers because I don't know any of the kickers. I don't know what a rookie kicker is. I don't even know if anyone drafted a rookie kicker this year. I don't know, so I'm not going to talk about them. I talk about offensive players because that is what I care about when I am thinking about fantasy sports. That is my NFL rookies. That's it, guys. That's all I got today. We talked about a lot of baseball. We talked about a lot of football. We were all rookie today. This experience was awesome. Next week, we are going to do WWE. We are going to do MMA. Maybe a little Impact. A little, I think, the return of John Moxley somewhere. I don't know where he went. The artist formerly known as Dean Ambrose recently put out a video, and he is back to the Moxley. He had a video. I think maybe we can find a way to link it on here so you can watch it. But he recently removed himself from some sort of jail situation, and now he's running out of the jail and he's free. This is all on the video. This is all on the video that he has for wrestling. I don't know if it's confirmed that he's even going to Impact or not, but he did make a video saying that he's free and running through the jail, escaping barbed wire, the whole nine. He jumped through it, and it was a pretty cool video. I don't know if that means he's gone to Impact. I don't know if that means he's going. Nothing's confirmed. So we're going to talk about that next week. All right. Also next week I'm going to talk about playoff rounds. NHL is still going. No one's been eliminated this week, so we're going to talk about that next week when the rounds are all over. We're also going to talk about NBA. No one's been eliminated yet, so by next week for sure we'll probably be in the middle of the East and West finals for the NBA and the NHL. So we'll talk about both of those. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Next week, as I said, that's what we're going to talk about. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll chat it up. Hit under here any comments, stuff. I'll try to answer that as soon as I can. Higher Movement Show, Coach Wondergeddon. As I said, I am your coach, Wondergeddon. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night.